This right here is the engine to my Yamaha Thunderace. And this right here is the Yamaha Thunderace in question. And in this upload, we're going to finally install this engine into this frame.
But first, how did we get to this point? Well, it all began when I collected this old 1998 Yzf1000R, which had been left to rot for over 20 years. I went about stripping the bike down in order to replace the frame because of this dent, and came across a few unexpected challenges in the process, which led me to having to rebuild the top end of its engine. This was all fun and games, only I was trying to complete this rebuild from my driveway. And it was at this point, when I was rebuilding part of the bike in the house and the engine on the driveway, that this had got absolutely ridiculous. So I got myself a new workshop.
So, as I'm now in the comfort of my new workshop, I'm no longer going to be messing around. So, let's do this.
We pick up on this engine with the top end almost complete. I have installed new shims which we need to double check the valve clearances for. So we will clamp down the inlet camshaft that is still out of place, and then recheck all the valve clearances to be sure they are now all in spec. Which turns out they are all fine, so we can continue to progress. In a previous upload, some of you roasted me for putting the top end back together dry. So, I have some oil, and a new oil can. And check this out. The next step is to make a little adjustment to the camshafts on the cam chain. I need to make sure the camshafts are timed up correctly, but I won't know for certain just yet. I got myself a lovely new 1/4 inch torque wrench too. This allows me to torque up to those smaller values which are needed for this next step. The camshaft clamp bolts require a torque setting of 10 Newton meters. Next up is a cam chain tensioner, which gets a new gasket of course. We make sure we install it the correct way up. This cam chain tensioner is automatic. This spring applies constant pressure to ensure the cam chain remains tight. This new torque wrench is perfect and gives me 20 Newton meters on this 12mm bolt. I now rotate the crank via the front sprocket using a ratchet. I put the crank through 2 complete engine cycles to check that the valves and springs don't lock the engine up. And isn't this a beautiful sight? We have the timing markers bang on with the engine set at top dead center. So I'm happy to progress and install the cam chain guide. Before fitting the camshaft cover, I felt it was looking a little tired, so I thought why not try and improve it and protect it by giving it a rub down, a clean up, and apply some black gloss hammerite. I knew it was never going to look amazing, but it was in an area that is hidden, so I just didn't mind. Now it's time to fit new spark plugs, which I had to use a tool from the bike's underseat tool bag because I didn't have an 18mm deep socket.
Right, so the top end is almost complete. I will need to return to those spark plugs once I get the correct socket and ensure they are torqued up to spec. But that's not going to hold me back. I'm going to progress, and what I'm going to do next is give this bottom end a bit of a scrub-a-dub-dub.
I also thought it would be a shame to reinstall this engine before trying to remove over 20 years of oil and grime buildup, and so the product for the job was going to be gunk. And taking my new workshop stool on wheels for a spin, I moved around the engine, brushing on the engine degreasant. I was happy with the result. It was never going to look spotless, but it's certainly a huge improvement. Oh, and I removed the oil filter in the process.
Right, it's the next day and I've taken myself to Halfords because I need to get an 18mm socket. Here we are then.
We've got 14, 15, 17, 19. Where's the 18? There's the bad boy. So got it, 18mm, deep socket, £7. While I'm here, I should get myself also some anti-freeze and coolant, 1 litre, that'll do. I've also picked up myself a funnel, which I've needed for quite a while, so hopefully that will stop any spillage going forward. Back at the workshop and with my new 18mm socket, I torque up the spark plugs to, coincidentally, 18 Newton meters. Okay then, this is the part I'm not looking forward to. That engine is now ready to go in the frame of the Thunderace. I'm not going to enjoy this. However, I've drafted in my girlfriend, Nicole, who is behind the camera. Now, before we lift such a heavy item, obviously, I don't want to hurt myself. I think what's best to do right now is, so just got to give those legs a good stretch. Warm up like, oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, see that? Oh, look at that squat. Oh, look, I can even jump. All right? Make sure you don't skip leg day, all right? It's very important. And with my now warmed up leg muscles, I can leg press a ramp into its max height position, which puts it level with the table that supports the engine. Plan is, we're going to try and usher the engine onto that mat. Got a trolley jack down on the floor there. I was going to order a proper scissor lift to lift the engine up, but it was like 3 to 4 days until I received it. And I want to get this engine in today.
Yeah, I've got it underneath here.
Yeah. Slides easy, doesn't it? Takes our weight.
Here we were trying to get the trolley jack underneath the engine.
It's not moving, mate, with that.
We eventually managed to get the jack under the engine in order for it to lift it.
Mate, you've done that all on your own. I didn't do anything.
We're getting close. Essentially, we need to get that lined up to that there.
But the trolley jack was not going to work.
I might have come up with a genius potential solution here. I'm saying potential, but I can see it, but let me explain what I'm thinking. That engine is sitting as it is, no assistance. It sits pretty flat. Now this lifts out of the bike lift, and I'm thinking if I shimmy this engine this way, right, the bike isn't actually that heavy when there's no engine attached to it. But the problem we might have, I just thought, when we do the bolts up to the engine, how do we then lift the bike? So basically, I was going to drop the bike down through that gap, right, supporting the wheel, and then I can hold the bike and lift it left to right, but then how are we going to, I guess the engine is on, I know what I could do. Yeah, I know what you can do. Basically, you came up with this suggestion. It was all your idea. Now I'm thinking, so you're thinking, yeah? So when it's all bolted up, you can drop your idea, drop the ramp down to floor level, and then the wheel will obviously, hopefully, it'll all, maybe. Should we try it? Could go terribly wrong. I'm sorry if this goes wrong. If it goes wrong, it's your idea anyway, so. Also, I just want to say, this is why you love watching this channel. So, if you've watched up until this point, and you like a bit of a laugh, and you want to watch a beginner like me struggle, you do all the work, then hit the subscribe button. Follow along. It's all good fun. Just hold the engine in place, I'm going to go down this slowly, right?
Whoa, jeez.
Okay. That's dropping through. That's it, mate. Mate, we have got this.
One more?
Yeah, keep going. Do you know what this is called? This is work smarter, not harder. You can see now the bike, yeah look, the bike, there's no weight to that, so I don't mind it sitting on the bottom of the shock. But look how close we are now to that hole, so we don't have to go too far with the engine.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, but it's still going to...
Still gonna fit.
Do you know what I mean? You know when it's tight, it still fits, eh? This is a PG channel, right?
Is that not meant to happen?
That's gone too far.
That's gone. Mate, we're so close. We are so close. It's not the end of it. Something's stopping it.
Alright, so I think the problem we are facing is the powder coating. It's so thick, it just seems to be catching. That is how close we currently are. Almost there. Almost there. A little tweak. What do you reckon, Obi? Yeah, you come to help? Don't want to touch it because I'm oily.
It's in! Right, it's too greasy for me to turn it.
Do you know what this is? This is proof that you do all the work. So yeah, as I've mentioned, work smarter, not harder. Check out the ramp coming down now and just watch this. This is glorious to watch. Look. Look at that. Are you watching? I am a mechanic, alright? You don't want to agree just yet. You don't want to admit it. But I am, okay? Get over it. There is an engine in the bike. There is an engine in the Thunderace. We're slowly but surely getting there, aren't we? I've got to say, I love this ramp. That has made mincemeat. Well, okay, look. It didn't go quite to plan, but it made it a lot easier. And if we didn't powder coat the frame in certain places, then it would have gone in probably the first time round. But we've got an engine in the Thunderace at least. So we are making progress.